Thank you, everybody, for being here. It's been a great week working here. We would like to thank as well to the Canada Council for the Arts and the Ontario Arts Council for the Arts for supporting this project. And we would like to do this talk very, very informal, very chill, and one of the things that it's important, it's you guys ask questions. So, because, otherwise it becomes like, oh, we are a collective, whatever. But if we do it more like conversation, will be nice. If you want to ask questions, just please do. And
we want to thank Sophie and Jeff and everybody who has helped with this project and to bring our work here. I want to say on a personal note, I'm so happy to be here because many, many years ago, I made the decision to go from Mexico to Halifax to study at NASCAD. And since I graduated, I haven't been back. So it's so nice to be here, and it's so nice to be able to share our work with people in Nova Scotia. So we're very happy to be here. We've been working together since 2004, and we formed in Toronto. Nahúm is originally from Honduras. I'm from Mexico and Canada. My father was Mexican, my mother was Canadian, and Erik is from Mexico City. And the reason we are called SOTS is because one of our first projects we worked on was a project that was based out of Halifax. Michael McCormick invited us to do a suitcase project. So let me I'll speak a little bit about the name. He accepted us into the project and he needed a name for our group. And so we decided to name it SOTS because we like the idea of when bats arrive to a new place, they form clusters to stay together and to be in a community. And we've always thought we're like a little community within a larger community of artists. And we like the idea that the bat is associated with light and dark things and with the individual and collective, and that it's a winged mammal. And we kind of use it as a metaphor for ideas taking flight. So this is some slides of the suitcase project with the McLeod Gallery. And this was a really fun project. So it's kind of come full circle for us because it started in Halifax and Michael invited us. That's our suitcase on the right. And what he would do is he would travel across the country, and in every province he would pick up a new suitcase. And then you could see the traveling exhibition by appointment or by chance, he always said.
And I'm just going to elaborate a little bit. So, the idea is they give you an empty suitcase and you do like a little museum. So we decided to do like a codex, like a displayed codex, and a little sort of altar, it's called?
Yeah.
Yeah. We display the suitcase, like she was saying, in different places.
And so the slide on the right, it's like a cycle for us because the slide on the right, after he traveled across the whole country, he ended up at Odd Gallery in Dawson City, and we were actually exhibiting in the fall in Dawson City. So kind of fun.
Many things happened with this project in Winnipeg. When they showed it in Winnipeg, at night someone broke in the minivan and stole some of the suitcases. But then they discovered that there was nothing valuable.
Well, one of the suitcases was full of pennies, no? That was the piece. So lots of pennies maybe.
They left it off.
Yeah, they discovered the abandoned suitcases and were able to retrieve them for the exhibition. Whoops.
To cover the process.
Yes. Now I will speak about the process. Like we meet every Sunday in our studio. First of all, we gather a lot of materials, color pencils, pastels, and magazines. We do a lot of collages. And each one of us starts with a separate piece of paper, and we start drawing, and then we rotate those drawings, and they evolve in the process. And sometimes we finish some of them in a session. Sometimes we leave them for the next week, and then we interpret them and decide whether they're finished or not. And so that's how our drawings developed.
Initially, when we started it, we would always work small format, 11 by 15, about this size. And it was mostly water-based
Materials,
colored
yeah.
pencil, collage, graphite, and pigment liners.
So I just want to elaborate a little bit more of the process. It is, I was telling somebody, it's the only rule we have is that we don't have any rules. And we don't have any work without any preconceived idea. So we work from the inside to the outside. And it's just a matter of to read the lines and to start a conversation that probably it will take you, it could take many turns. So we are not particularly interested in achieving something. It's more from going to A to B and that big in between. So that's what we are called like a process-oriented group, right? So
And we ended up with a lot of things that we don't really like. And at first we had a box, no, that we put all of those pieces in that box, and we called those
roast chickens.
Yes.
You know, they're overcooked, they're burned, they're overworked, and but it's interesting how people, you know, like you see something you don't like, but then the one time we showed it to someone, and
We had an exhibition, and in that exhibition we chose to show some of those drawings and mix them with what we, you know, like decided were good. And then some ended up buying some of those pieces. I mean, the roasted chicken pieces, and that's what I was very impressed.
So after many years of kind of finding ourselves on working small format on paper, we decided to try doing mural installations and kind of going onto a larger format directly on the wall.
yeah, because so we have this rotation system, and we do drawings, we do murals, and we do also ceramics that we will later on talk about it. But the murals are pretty much very similar to the drawing, with the only difference that because there's the size of the space, we can work in different places at the same time, and it's like the musical chair thing that then you go to other place and someone says, we have this also requests, you know, so I have an idea and I know Ilyana those beautiful buildings and now those beautiful sandals. Say, no, could you please give a sandal to this feet, you know, and they say, okay, you know, so anyways.
Yeah, like in these murals pieces are more like we involve all the body in it, and also we introduce the concept of niche too. No?
Yeah.
So the materials are chalk pastel. It's all stuff that can be washed off the mural. Colored paper, black paper, graphite powder, and now we've started using a bit of watercolor and oh yeah, and we use a thread that's like a waxed, it has a sticky surface, so we can kind of use it as a line, cut little pieces of thread and make forms, and that gives like a very thin line onto the mural. And then we also decided at one point, how can we, after making a few murals, we wanted to kind of break the surface of the mural and not make it seem so two-dimensional. So we had this idea of using the niche as like a sculptural element. And also we thought it's like creating a little story. Each box creates a little story, and then it also connects to a larger story. So we really like that about integrating smaller stories within larger story. And everywhere we present our work, when we're doing niches, we always go around and we like walking around the area where we are and picking up things that we can integrate that come from the local environment. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the niche is a very interesting element because we're creating a space within the huge space, right? And people can, you know, choose to focus on that space.
Yeah, there's sort of focal points and
and also the different organic elements that
it can allure you into it's more intimate and then
space.
This was a project that we did at the Burlington Art Gallery where it's using the concept of a niche as well, but in a more formal way. So we were using our larger sculptures, and since it's a gallery that's mostly dedicated to ceramics, we had the large sculptures, but then also using elements of cut paper and pastel and the string, waxed string as well. And then also in a few places where we've gone, they've been using the concept of the niche for their public programming. Mm-hmm. A lot of kids, when they do kids programming, they'll do it. The niche as a starting point for different activities.
In 2007, a ceramic artist friend saw our work, and he suggested us to work on ceramic sculptures. So we visited his studio, and he introduced us to this nice and wonderful material. And so he had a small kiln, so we did a lot of
Smaller.
smaller little things.
Terrible.
Selling bojotes, and like we were playing with it, and so that's how we were introduced to the ceramic
to play, but that was
elements.
sort of an initial thing that when we play around with the clay, we said like, oh, I think this is good because it's very ludic and it works well with our system. We can detach, you can draw, you can add. It's very playful, right?
It's flexible. You can make any marks, and
But it doesn't matter when was it. Then after that, we had the opportunity to go to the former Yugoslavia for a residency, and then is when they really hit us, right?
Yes.
We ended up in a very unique and inspiring place called there was a residency called Terra in a place called Kikinda. So they had a sculptor garden, and it was international residency, so there were artists from different parts of the world working massively, and we had little things up, but it was very inspiring.
This residency took place in a brick factory.
A former brick factory that was torn into.
And they had artists from all over the world, and so they were making huge ceramic sculptures, and then they invited us to participate.
Yeah, we ended up there by mistake, and they said, "No, really, we're supposed to go to other place." But the guy said, "Oh, you arrived 2 days earlier. I'm not gonna leave you here in Belgrade. They're gonna eat you live. Come with me, Kikinda." So, we were there, and then we did.
We made a whole bunch of bojotes, or small sculptures.
Small sculptures, and a year later, this guy fired the pieces and gave those to us. And we approached the Gardner Museum with our little sculptures, and then we started working, doing workshops, and it was
At the Gardner Museum,
yeah.
And then after a few years of doing the smaller ceramics, and we always do it in conjunction with our other work, so it's one aspect of our practice, but after many years of doing the small ceramics, we slowly were able to get the techniques, get our skills to move up in size and do some larger work. So these were a series of sculptures for the Montreal Museum of Fine Arts.
Yeah. So this is very nice sculpture. They die in the kiln, they explode.
They were big,
big. So we were going well with them, but this is obviously when the big project shows up, then of course they have to break on the kiln. So this one doesn't exist anymore, but
we were fighting against time, right? And we had to make this complete this project with these huge sculptures, and we were working. Like clay is amazing. It's an amazing material to work with, but you never know, right? Like if the things will survive, right?
It was a good learning experience, but we did manage to finish
the project.
eight sculptures with 3 elements each. They were all stackable, so it was like 24 elements to be shipped.
They're big too, yeah.
Are the individual pieces collaborative works?
everything is everything.
Everything.
One of these pieces would have each of you would have.
All of
them.
them. It's the same. We all do them together.
And these pieces, each piece is made out of 3 components. Actually, they are at the Museum of Fine Arts.
They're part of the collection of the Montreal Museum of Fine Arts. So let me just speak quickly about the project. So the museum invited us to respond to their collection of the pre-Hispanic works that they have. And they have this exhibition where they invite artists from different backgrounds to respond to different parts of their collection. So they have Brendan Fernandez to respond to the African collection and so on. And we were the ones commissioned to do the pre-Hispanic work. And they were on display with the other artists. And there was a previous slide that was a pre-Hispanic piece that was sort of in dialogue with that's the word. Yeah. And then after that, they live there for a few months, and then they move them into another place where they permanently.
Yeah, so now they're I don't think they're at this location, but they are in their permanent collection in a new pavilion.
And then in this case, we use Ixle which is how do you describe this? A fiber that.
Yeah, it's a fiber from a cactus. It's a fiber that they use a lot in Latin America. They used to use it to like tie horses and in every day, and
It's an everyday object that
Yeah.
you do bags and whatever, right?
so we've had the fortune to be able to do some ceramic art residencies in conjunction with our exhibitions. During the pandemic, we were invited by the Judith and Norman Alex Art Gallery in Sarnia to do a 1-week residency, and it was kind of in between the pandemic when there was like that lull and you could actually go places. So we were in their studios doing work for 1 week, and that for us is really good because it's different than working in your studio. You know, when you have the full week to just focus on making sculpture, it's very different than doing it sporadically. So we were able to do like 7 or 8 pieces that were later fired and shown in an exhibition at the gallery.
Yeah, the pandemic was obviously was bad for everyone. Move, no, it's like look at this guy. But we catch the in betweens, no, from the first wave to the second wave. You know, we went to do the residency, then everything is closed, then, you know, so we were, but we were busy during the pandemic, and it was...
Previous to that, we participated in another residency where we had to do it in our studios, creating ceramic pieces as well.
Yeah, at that time we couldn't travel.
That's the
Nelson Oxygen Art Center.
Oxygen Art Center, yeah.
So anyways, and then we had the fortune as well to get invited by the Gardner Museum, the Ceramic Museum in Toronto.
Last summer.
To do something similar that we did at Montreal. They have a pre-Hispanic collection, Asian American collection, and we sort of did the same dance around. But in this case, it was a little bit more bold, the project, because we had we did a residency in the Gardeners to do the ceramics and get inspired by the pieces. We select some pieces from their collection to, you know,
Have a
conversation, a dialogue. And so we did the mural, but we invited a cello player to respond to our work while everything was responding, you know. So she, while we were creating the mural, she will go, it was sort of like a performatic event. And we did a community project that we call it Drawing with Scissors. So people will walk around the exhibition, get inspired, and they do a cutout. And then it was absolutely amazing. We were not thinking how the people will respond to the thing.
And initially
it went wild.
Yeah, initially there were, you know, we would see it grow. They would put a few silhouettes on the wall, and then the next day they would add, and then finally the wall was so filled up they had to use more space than they actually thought they would.
Yeah. And this is one of the elements that we actually use on the murals. We sort of draw with the scissors, right? And if you go downstairs, you will see some elements that are just
actually
paper cutouts.
And they were inspired by the works in the exhibition, and
Some of them.
Some of them, yeah. So,
But it was a good way to engage with the community and the gardener, that they wanted to focus with our exhibition. They really wanted that community engagement. So I think, you know, it was a great success.
previous to this exhibition at the Garden Museum, we were invited to participate in a project in Leamington, Ontario, by the Windsor Access Art Gallery. And in this project, we have to work with migrant workers from Latin America and the Caribbean. And so what we did, we visited some greenhouses, and we work with workers, you know, like with the mediums of drawings and collage. And we were very impressed, you know, the way these guys, you know, like, they work so spontaneously, and we had a lot of fun.
And the thing is that the workers, they would work all day, like, I don't know, 5 a.m. until 5 p.m. And then they came to work with us for an hour after this long day.
2 hours. 2 hours. Listen to the professor.
Absolute troopers, man.
Yeah, but it was just such a wonderful way to have, like, for them to have a way to express themselves and to kind of engage with other people. And like, there was so much fun in the room. I wish we could have recorded all of the laughter.
And one of the interesting things about this project is that, you know, like some of these guys, you know, speak Spanish, some of them speak English, and yeah, they get along.
Yeah, that was a tricky workshop because it was bilingual and, you know, but, you know, kind of drawing's a universal language. So just everyone just nail it down and participate, and it was really fun. So this is at the Pure Flavor greenhouse, but we had a satellite location, and where was
The Leamington Arts Center.
and like the Leamington Arts Center. While they were working, we were working there doing a mural, and then at the end we show the mural that we did and all the works that they were producing in the workshops. And then, for example, this one it's called experimental drawing workshop. So it's there's multiple exercise, and it's a lot of fun. But anyway, so with this, it's a comic thing, and it's all in collaboration too.
Yeah.
One of the things that we would like to
So we were sitting at these big tables and we were passing the work, rotating it around the circle. And for this series here, there's a square, we would draw an element in a square, like we related it thematically. And then we say, pass it on, the next person would draw in the next square like that, and then color it between the grooves.
And then we put it all together, and then it was like a nice little.
That's what we ended up, like exhibiting in the exhibition. It was an amazing piece of kind of like comic.
That was the comic exercise.
Yeah, very impressive. And well, there are other sections that I'm not sure if they are there. And, like where they show what they did in collaboration, like a whole wall out of like drawings, like black and white, really like drawings of 1 minute, for example.
Yeah, we have the 1 minute portraits, and it's very interesting how people react to the exercise and how the people communicate. And it's there's one that it's called a blind portrait, so you have to see the person without seeing the that. I appreciate you guys, all artists here.
Yeah.
But some people couldn't look into the eye, and then they were, and we were like, come on, man, just do it.
They were laughing.
So it was a lot of fun. Yeah.
But also the collage they did were amazing. Yeah.
We mainly do the murals, like the ones downstairs, which is ephemeral and without any preconceived idea. But once in a while we get a commissions. This is for the Pan American Games in 2015. We did 2 murals, and so the process is very similar. We start drawing, passing things around, but we ended up assembling everything on the computer, right? Because the city has to approve it. It's just different.
And this piece in particular, we did it with a community of a community
sketch
program.
Yes.
Sketch.
So we mentor younger artists.
At-risk youth. It was in collaboration with Youth at Risk who were helping us.
Yeah.
And
It's always trying to work on collaboration with other people, with other artists, and trying to come.
So in this case, what we did, we had a few sessions with different youth, and then we did a lot of sketches and collages, and came out with ideas for the project.
brainstorming.
Yeah. And then with these ones, we ended up projecting.
Yeah.
Once the piece is approved and everything, we choose colors, everything, and then it's just like paint by numbers. I don't love them that much, but they're nice. All the previous process is very interesting. This was done in the Ravine, from the Toronto people. There's one.
And that's for the Pan American Games.
Yeah, this is another one for the Pan Am Games, and it was interesting.
This was done on a column of a bridge.
Of the bridge, yeah.
Yeah, so it's quite large in scale.
And this one we did we designed.
Beer barrel.
No, it was
Tyler.
Tyler.
This is another commission. This is for a private building, and it's like just if you ever want mural in your kitchen, guys. We do it permanently. This is vinyl, which has been a very alternative way to work. So during the pandemic, like we were saying before, we couldn't attend to this residency in Nelson, BC. And we did the exhibition, we designed the exhibition on the computer, and they print out the vinyls, they cut them out. Mm-hmm. We don't have an image from that, but this is for it says right there.
This one is from previous years, like from 2015 or 13.
Yeah. So anyways, it's you can go, don't love our gallery.
Yeah, our gallery in Regina.
lately, we last month we went to Waterloo Kitchener area, and we have a very nice project. This here in where are we? And well, this ARTSPLACE Annapolis. It's the second time that we present our animation work, which is something that we just start developing. And last month in this gallery, we did a nice project with musicians, animation, and also working on the wall of the.
Yeah, while we were working.
So you see, like the animation was projected in a bigger scale, and the musicians, these guys were absolutely killing it. These are very nice, very good musicians.
Yeah,
and
the university has a very
Faculty of
good
music.
music program and
yeah. So this is, I think that's it. If you guys have, like I said at the beginning, if you have questions, it will be better to inform you better, because this is just like a, I don't know. Yes, please, thank you.
So let me understand.
Sorry.
So one of you starts
It-
an image, and then another one of you comes in and adds, and then the third one comes in and
so yeah,
something around.
if we,
So the murals that you do, is that the same thing?
It's-
So you don't have a drawing ahead of time?
no.
Start at one end and then someone else, okay.
nothing
That's exactly
preconceived.
right.
So
yeah.
one of the main differences is that for the murals, because it's a large space, then the three of us can work on different portions at the same time. Whereas when we're doing small works on paper, we'll do it and then pass it on. But at the murals, we can kind of be more engaged, the three of us at the same time.
Yeah, at the beginning, there's almost no talking. So you see someone working there,
You don't know.
and then, when the days passes, the murals start populating and start getting connected. And then we go, how about if you do this? Or no, and whatever, right? But at the beginning is more like, let's just see, it's like you draw something and let's see, like the Rorschach tests, like if you see a stain and they say, it looks like what, and then we start, not
We
really-
interpret and we transform, right? And we deform as well.
Yeah.
And
But then at the end, it's more like a piece, like a puzzle coming together. So we have to like try to fit all the pieces together and have it make sense. So in the end,
Exactly.
it's more about like bringing it all.
And like we were saying to someone downstairs, if you see a person that spends too much in a section of the drawing or the mural, it's like, it's time to let go, you gotta let go, that's the most important thing.
we push it, we go like this.
Yeah, it's like I was saying, with the stick on the ground, I'm free, pass the ball, and
But the funny thing is that in the murals we have done, like we have done many in different places, right? Some of the elements continue to repeat sometimes.
just like in the drawing,
Different
like,
positions and
they're moving around. Yes.
it looks like they're traveling. I don't know.
Yes.
Are the murals that you create?
They're for sale, yes. So,
Informed by the small paper pieces that you brought with you.
Not necessarily, but sometimes we do see that there is a connection.
The characters, somehow they migrate from the paper.
I mean, it's a very good question, but because there's things that we consciously add, but there's many other things that they're filtered subconsciously, and that's what we call we transit from the individuality to the collectivity all the time, and we're moving there. And you are an artist, and when you have an idea here, and the time that process gets to your head, and with the mark that you do, it's like, oh shit, so yeah,
But it's also like a language that we have developed. So it's like a cast of characters that kind of follow us or are within us, actually.
With the suitcases, were they put in a studio and opened so people could see them, or did they, like I saw them lined up?
Yeah.
Were they just
So
outside?
they were traveling by van from, starting at Nova Scotia. And then every place they would meet the artist, they would kind of decide what kind of informal exhibition to have. So actually in some places they would just be walking around the city or the town with the suitcases. But in other places, like where when they stopped in Toronto, we had like a formal reception in a little cafe where it was more like an artist, like an exhibition
So
with an
the
opening.
would be open.
So
Yeah.
all the suitcases,
Yeah.
our suitcase was displayed there, but then around the room were all the other suitcases displayed.
And the
as well.
final show that was at Dawson City, it was with all the suitcases collected, and they put them on
Yeah.
displays for people to see what. Yes, sir. Oh, sorry.
Is this the first time you've exhibited in Nova Scotia?
Yes, I forgot to mention that. Well, like aside from that suitcase project, it's the first time in the Maritimes, so
So
we're very happy to be here.
Michael McCormick is with the Arts Gallery of Nova Scotia.
We're gonna see him tonight.
So you've been talking to him about doing a project there?
Not at this point. We just reach out to him because we said, hey, we are in Annapolis and we are gonna see Ilyana's friends and family. Would you be interested? And he was like, absolutely. It's like another closing cycle for us to meet with him again after, I don't even want to say how many years, but it's great. Yeah. And then, you'll hear from him because.
He has shown work here.
Okay.
Awesome.
Yeah. He said he couldn't make it to the opening. Obviously, the roads and stuff.
It'll come up while it's here.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yes, he will come, right?
Yes.
This is not a question, this is a comment about what I heard this week. And you said in your talk a few times, we didn't talk to each other, but you had to listen to these three. In the daytime, I wish it was filmed in the daytime. I've never seen or heard three artists, and you worked together for just about 20 years with such enthusiasm, respect, laughter. Oh my goodness. It was a joy
Oh.
to fly on the wall and hear you work.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much.
I apologize every day to Sophie
For the
and say, sorry for the noise because we get out. We went to Forum and Art Gallery and the lady said, "Oh, the previous exhibition it was a very different subject matter. It was very cerebral. That's the way she described it. And these two artists they were assembling things and this place felt like a monastery." When you guys came, we were with a dog that time, even with a dog. It felt like a market, It was like, we're allowed.
We were with a dog and with a boy,
And with a kid, yeah.
Pascal, our
Their
son,
son,
yeah. He always travels with us. This is the first exhibition that he doesn't second yet because he hadn't got to exhibition already. So
Do you also work independently?
Good question. Yes, we do have individual practices, and that's for me it's like going to the gym, and then when I come to the collective, say, oh, I've been working on these things, and then it's you give and you take too from the collective, and you learn from others. For example, Ilyana is very good with watercolor, and works. With wash, and then you see how she works, and then say, "Oh, okay, I'm gonna try that on my own page, and I'm not gonna let anyone touch it."
yes,
And we all have like very different styles, so I think that's why it works so well because we complement one another's style,
exactly.
individual work.
Yes.
Ilyana's work, for example, Ilyana's and Erik's works is very spontaneous, and they work with drawings, and they
Yeah, more. Yeah,
get the results right away, right? The same thing with Ilyana, watercolors and washes. I work with mixed media. I use like a lot of layers. I never get satisfied with whatever I'm making, but I get interested in the process.
Yeah, but you take more time to build your pieces.
Exactly. Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
But they are small.
Yeah, that's a good question too. I moved to Canada in 2001. And I had a previous collective. I was a member of another collective, and it was really very interesting experience working collaboration. So I'm the three of us, we have been interested in working collaboration. So there's a festival that's called the Outdoor Show in Toronto. It's there's like 500 artists. So I was walking around, and he was showing at the student section. And then I said, "Oh, hi!" And then he replied to me in Spanish, right? Like, "Oh, ¿cómo estás?" And then at that time, Ilyana was doing an exchange in Florence. And when she came back, the three of us, we became part of a bigger collective that it still exists, but much more bigger. But it was very chaotic, and it was not to work together. It was to, to ask for
organize
grants,
exhibitions.
to organize exhibitions and whatever. But it was very, it was a good experience though. But we, they said, okay, let's start at 1, and at 3:00 people started arriving. Hey, whatever. So we felt like, anyways, and we formed on September 11, 2004, and we were in an event, another Latin event.
We were participating actually.
We were attending.
No, we were showing in this, not in that event, but in
Okay.
the same.
I don't remember. What I remember is like we had food, so we have disposable plates, and we start drawing, and on those disposable plates, and we start passing them around, and then we still have the first shots, which is on an empanada plate that's still the greasy stains and stuff. And after that, we said like, hey, you guys want to get together, and then the rest is history. Yeah.
Who designed your little person?
Oh, this is well, it was a collective effort as well. Yeah, let's just put it there. Let's just say it's a collective effort too. Yeah, everything's good. Huh? Not me. Not me. Exactly.
When you did I used to do an art programming at a rehab center, a residential rehab center. And so people there are recovering, they're very anxious, ill, whatever, but art calms. I mean, as you know, it just levels everything. But we would do an exercise where I would ask them to start a drawing and put their name on the back. And then I would ask them to pass their drawing to the right. And the ripples of anxiety and upset, some people would just take the paper and leave, they wouldn't have it. But others would. And then and we would work on that over a few sessions, trading and moving and introducing new media. I kind of used it as an introduction to show them how to use some things. And a few of them said, this piece that I know everyone here worked on, because they're there for 3 months, they get to be very close, is a treasure I will always remember, because it has everyone's hands, everyone's ideas on it. So did you ever get any resistance to the shared aspect of it with your groups, with them?
I would say at the beginning, no? At the beginning, it was more like, it's a learning process.
Yeah.
It's like when you meet someone, you're not going to tell them everything. It's just, so at the beginning, it was like, oh, okay, you're big, I'm bigger. And then you try to overlap at the beginning. But I think we discovered that our curiosity was bigger than our egos. And we decided to, explore.
And you worked with the people that were working in the
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, so
that was
almost-
hard for them to.
for some of them.
Yeah.
So some of them had experience with they may have been craftspeople in their countries or, used drawing. So some of them were very experienced, but others probably had drawn very little in their lives. So, it was an interesting mix of people who could and who felt that they could. It's more about how you feel.
Yeah.
But the thing is that it's hard the first time you do it, but then Erik is always very animated, moving things along, and we do it with a timer. So we say, 10 minutes, you have to, 10 seconds or 20 seconds, you have to pass it, or else you stop the rhythm, right? So that's how we kind of force people the ones who are more shy about doing that. It's more like, move it along the river, right?
That's what's the phrase? Time's up!
Animation. You do animation, and I was wondering if you'd ever tried live drawing on, say, a piece of glass where you could each take a part and project it.
We haven't done it like that.
Your work is so animated to begin with.
Yeah.
I see it evolving as that.
There's like you said, many possibilities. I'm pretty sure you're familiar with Shari Boyle, and then she does these projections, and there's people that put some dust,
Right.
and then they move things
Yes.
around. We decided to venture into because the thing is, it has to be collective, so we're gonna take baby steps. So the ones that you see downstairs, we start with the drawing, we scan the drawing, and then we just animate things around just to
Some of them.
Yeah, some of them, because we're new to them, but yeah, it's a great suggestion though. It could work out well. Yeah.
And the way we started animation, it was also during the pandemic, so it was kind of a way for us to still be connected and be able to send each other the files back and forth. And during the pandemic, also we kind of experimented with dropping off work at each other's houses. It didn't work very well.
Yes, sir.
Have you tried any printmaking, lithographs or etchings or?
We
yeah.
not
Not collectively. I have tried risograph and silk screen personally. Yeah, I have. And the one that it's the cam that we designed for the cider, we always thought that it will be a great on a silk screen because just two color and
Easy to, yeah.
because this one originally was a proposal for a mural. So we said, and then we were rejected, and then it ended up on a can. But if we were rejected on the can, we'll be on a silk screen. That's a good thing. You try your ideas, and then where they fit, they fit. Yes. Yes. Yes.
Your figures are really specific and still behind musical. Are there aspects of these, like genesis of it, from your childhood, from where you grew up?
I believe from where we come from Mesoamerica, Mexico, and Ilyana grew up in Mexico as well. So we have a lot of influence from where we come from. We have this syncretic kind of like culture, like a lot of like indigenous beliefs and Catholic, have like evolved in a kind of like form of beliefs that is quite unique. So yes, like like our imagery, I believe, like is influenced by all of these.
The legends and the myths are always very present. Starting point.
Storytelling and like all of these things that we grew up with. And
I remember my grandmother tells a lot of stories of goblins and people that transform into other things at night. So the movement and transformation, I think, is very present in our collective and individual work as well.
What's your next project?
We are going to New Brunswick, Galerie Sans Nom in Moncton. But that one, that will be next one. And then going to Montreal. It's called McClure Gallery, and then that's
BC.
No, it's Kootenay.
Kootenay,
Kootenay, BC, another gallery, and it's always like here we would look to we like the talks, but also would like to do the workshops. There's so much fun, and then just community like you guys that are all artists that are a lot of participation and involvement. It'll be great. So it gotta be a next time thing, but
we work with like children. Children are really they respond pretty fantastic to the workshops, right?
Yeah,
especially the younger ones. The teenagers are a little bit scared, but
I'm curious if we're going to live with the working collective for another month, but I'm curious what themes you were digesting and sharing this week, whether you can talk about the process that's produced what we're going to have here for the next month, what experiences you will.
Well,
it's such a privilege to have people visit.
Yes.
I'm curious if you're willing to share what you saw while we were also watching you.
Well, we were talking about in a more poetic way, going to see the sunsets and see ¿cómo se llama la marea?
The tide.
the tide.
And then we because we're kind of closing cycles with Art Gallery in the Yukon, and here in Annapolis we will start with that suitcase project, and so we felt that the returning rocks from the tide left back, no?
And the architecture too, right? And trees, And Dawson, for example, like architecture is really fun. Like some of the houses are going like that. Yeah, over here, like the architecture is so amazing too.
Yeah, and then it was just because really it's a kind of short time, and then we would like to meet more people, members of the community, and really what we spent most of the time making noise downstairs and right. So, but it's it's that like the history and stuff. But it doesn't. We don't work like that, right? We don't work with a theme that we said, okay, we're gonna talk about now one of the first settlements in Canada, and then let's do a soldier or let's do this. It's more free flowing, and I'm pretty sure there are many things that they just filter subconsciously.
But yeah, we're really receptive, like for example, in this case, I like this place, like just visiting all of these all kind of like architecture, like houses of 300 years, right? Trees that are so
what? That
old.
might be filtered for the next project.
Exactly. Because we're very receptive, and then they come and they somehow we spit them.
Yeah.
Like in.
So we did. Yes. I was going to say we did. I especially spent a lot of time walking around, and I think like I absorb the things, and like Erik says, it doesn't necessarily come out at the moment, but it's kind of in the archive.
We met a whole bunch of deers, like in our
in a
parks.
fox.
Amazing! They were so beautiful.
And the role of, I know some of the slides show how you've worked with musicians.
Yeah.
But we know from, as Sally does, and refer to how much music was part of the week as well. Is that just filling the space while you work, or is that part of the work itself, part of the process itself?
The music we listen to? Yeah, no, it's part of, we listen music from different sources, right? Like different countries, different cultures, Africa.
Just try to put, we have a DJ every day, we rotate as well, But this time he was mainly the DJ. I just DJ once, but it's just to put more lively on the environment, and they get pumped and.
But it was nice to engage with you and your music as well. To hear.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
You have the mural on the wall, and that wall is always painted over. How do you guys feel about the fleeting nature of the work that we do?
That's a very good question.
Some murals last a long time, and some are gone in a couple.
That's a very good question, and I will tell you, like, the fact that the mural is ephemeral, it takes a burden out of you, and you don't think that poor people of Annapolis has to live with this all their life. So I'm gonna, we need to include, like you were suggesting, a building here or historic, or we need to say something in particular that speaks to them. No, it's like, okay, if it's so liberating.
However, the ghost of that, like drawing will be there for a long time, right? Living underground,
it's
right?
Just,
Yes.
Yeah, man.
But for us, it's really relaxing. Like the main thing of our work is the process. We love the process, and the final result. Is
we don't have attachment to it.
You don't have attachment to it, and it's not always fun though. We fight, we have tensions, and it's some murals are better than the other ones.
But it's part of
it's part of that. So it's just a conversation. Sometimes we start talking about nice things, and then sometimes we end up fighting about a little tiny
sometimes
thing,
Sometimes a lot of like characters with some problems reflect in the mural. He call them bubbles. You call them bubbles.
Yeah, I see with that.
But yeah, it's fine. Because in art, like it's really hard to control when you work unconsciously. Control or filter what reflects in a piece, right? Like
it's like going into a river, right? If you try to go against the current, like you're gonna die. It's better just like and whatever happens,
Hold your own with these two guys.
I do actually, yes.
You know what that you're saying? She is the one.
She's the controller.
We could go nuts, and then when you start, like, when the murals start popular and start progressing, I used to hear.
That's when I'm putting my foot down.
It's like, and then it's always that battle. It's always that battle that say like, well, this, you gotta let go. Yeah, but we want also the people from Annapolis, have a nice piece and
needs to be
for balance. Because if you see her individual work, it's more minimal,
clean,
very clean, very architectural, and and if you see her work, it's like,
Right there.
And anyways.
Well, thank you everyone for coming.
Thank you.